Just say yes, like the way you said before. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, I really appreciate it because, as I said, Zoom is a little different. I'm used to using Blackboard Collaborative Ultra, where I could see actually what I'm doing. But in this case, it's like I'm in a black hole. So basically, if I get your input, that's when I know that something is not working or is working, something like that. So anyway, again, welcome back. The topic, today's topic, we are first, I'm giving just a highlight about who I am or who I was all this time, and then hopefully you get to know about me, and then based on that you can understand that, like, you know, if this lecture is beneficial for you, or I am hoping that it will be helpful. So today's lecture we are covering on data mining. Even though, as I was saying, that data mining is not a actually field. This is more like you can say um, a subject. Okay, the field would be data analytics or data science. Okay, data mining, and people do data mining. It's not, so don't take me wrong. But we will, the more general term is it's actually data science and data analytics, but those are two different tracks. So anyway, my name is Abu Kamruzaman, or Tipu. My nickname is Tipu. So, and you know, I do have a PhD from computer science, and my background is actually deep learning, which is a branch of machine learning, which is a branch of artificial intelligence. I'm fairly new graduate for PhD, so I do have some background on this um, topic, and I do teach on this anyway. And my job is I'm a computer science or CIS faculty at CUNY, and also I work in the information technology in the IT industry, same in the City University of New York. And for those of you who joined, I mean, all of you joining from Bangladesh, but Ripon, you know this very well. This is a map of New York City subway, and this is where actually it shows all the CUNY, City University of New York. By the way, when we're saying CUNY, it's the City University of New York, the different campuses, 25 campuses all over the city. As you can see, Manhattan, and then Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, all those. So anyway, having said that, um, so let me, and also that's the URL for go to the CUNY website. And this is my background. Okay, so I started my professional career with in 2001. As you can see, it's almost 20 years, and I have been in the CUNY all along. Meaning CUNY, as I said, there is 25 campuses. I started my career at York College as a lab supervisor. I was their webmaster. I also became their network administrator, and then I moved to Lehman College, where I was actually a web programmer. I didn't think I would anyway. So, and then I moved to Baruch College, where I was a sysadmin and also the web programmer. And you know, so there was a lot of learning curve as time moved on. So for most of you, I know you are a fresh CSC major. So there, someday you will be also becoming like what I've been doing. And by anyway, after that, I moved to CUNY CIS, which is the main branch of like, you know, CUNY means where we have control all the CUNY campuses. And then I moved to Bronx Community College. By the way, in CIS, I was actually a business intelligence architect. And then, you know, as Bronx Community College right now, I'm in enterprise application developer. So I do have a background on dealing with Windows, Unix systems, and also as an admin, as a DBA, as a programmer. I heavily worked on Java, and recently my new job, I'm working on the .NET industry. So again, some of this may be buzzwords for you. What I mean, the buzzwords means you might not be too much familiar with this terminology, but hang in there. Within 2-3 years, you know, you will get used to with this terminology. And of course, this lecture may not help you today, but I think it will bring some kind of excitement for those of you who are bored with all of your CSC lectures. Hopefully that will bring you an encouragement. Look, I need to focus on this. And today's topic is, again, is data mining. But the whole reason I'm showing you, I'm somebody who comes from a very broad perspective, meaning I don't just started my career as a data miner or data analytics or data science. As a matter of fact, I'm not data science, as you can see. I'm saying enterprise app developer, but since I have been in the industry since 2001, as a matter of fact, I'm also teaching since 2001 almost constantly. And these are the campuses that I taught. And again, from Bangladesh, this is Lagodi Community College. That's where I started my career, teaching career. That's where I started my university degrees at in New York or in America. And then I went to Binghamton for bachelor's, master's for Brooklyn College, and Pace University. This is not a CUNY campus. This is a private campus. That's where I did my PhD. And as you can see, I also showed you the Bangladesh background, where I went for school, and I moved to this country in 1996, and I was born in 1976. So anyway, having said that, and these are the campuses: Baruch College, York College, and in another program, Baruch Continuing Ed, Pace University, Interboro University. These are the campuses that I taught. And I'm also a research advisor in my campus where I did my PhD. So I do have PhD students that is doing PhD under me. So I'm hoping that this will be helpful for you. So anyway, but keeping that aside, hopefully that you get to learn few things. And again, this is an introductory lecture, and I was discussing with Galib and Araf earlier that this is a 3-hour lecture. So my goal is to try to finish in half an hour. So please don't get upset, because some of the stuff, again, you might not understand anyway, because there is a prereq. I mean, there is some other things that you need to understand really what is data mining. So it's a 15 to 20 years career that somebody needs to really want to be a data scientist, that they need to go through to understand all the concept and terminology. But anyway, fields are changing constantly. So maybe in a few years, you might be a data scientist as well very easily if you focus on those topics. So these are your topics that came along: data mining, cybersecurity. And out of this, it seemed like this was a discussion that I had with Galib. By the way, those of you who don't know, Galib is my nephew. I was discussing with him about this, and he's a CSC major in National University. And by the way, in case if you don't know, National University combined with Open University is the 3rd largest university system in the world. So you guys should be proud that what you're doing is not something small, actually. So we are targeting more than 600,000 students, okay? So your rating falls right under actually Caltech, the University of California here. And CUNY is also not small. We serve more than 500,000 students. So it's very close to you, but it's not as much as you guys have. So anyway, so then so next week, hopefully I'll try to cover on cybersecurity. Then you came app development, then hacking. By the way, hacking is not a job. It's a kind of like a profile. So anyway, I just kind of took the notes what I was having discussion with him, but you are more than welcome to actually send me your choices. So I will send in my email address. So feel free to email me if you have any questions or anything. But again, you can put it in the chat. Hopefully you can see my email address. But in the email, please do so put that Bangladesh lecture or something in the subject area, so that way I know it's coming from you guys, because I get lots of emails in a day. Sometimes I have to check hundreds of emails per day. So please don't think that I'm ignoring you or I could not see you, because do apply. And last semester I had 120 students, so it is sometimes gets very difficult to handle manage things. So anyway, so these are your topics, initial topics that came along. And I was discussing with Galib as well. Data science and cybersecurity is the most hot cake right now in the market. That doesn't mean that the other jobs are gone or doesn't have anymore. Anytime any job is there, there will be always some maintaining going on. So even you don't have something about mainframe or COBOL stuff that we guys, Ripon, my friend, knows. We took those classes. That industry is legacy system now, meaning not that many jobs out there anymore, but still. So all of these jobs, their market is very hot. But especially cybersecurity and data mining is more popular. Or I keep saying data mining is data science or data analytics. So anyway, all of this had actually zip. You would have seen if I was showing the slideshow. But anyway, maybe next time. So now, if you notice, I do put my actual lecture, meaning actual class, where I teach at Baruch College. I do teach a course called Data Mining for Business Analytics. And this is actually a revised version of the first lecture that I go through it with my students. So this is both a undergrad, bachelor's or master's class, similar lecture setup. So 3920 is the lecture. And by the way, this is not only just computer science or CIS background, they also offer this course in STAT program. So that should give you an understanding that only computer science or CSC major is not the one who is dealing with data science. Data science is coming from all different backgrounds. You would be seeing doctors someday doing this data science work. As a matter of fact, they are doing, okay? So a lot of times it's a team collaboration work. It's not a one-person work. And by the way, don't think like, oh, maybe I'll have my teammate do all the work. First of all, you have to get hired and prove them that you're really capable of doing things that you are claiming that, yes, thanks. He's calling me David. That was a zip actually, Ripon. So anyway, going back to the lecture. So let me just show you the syllabus a little bit. And this is the syllabus that I've been teaching. And I will be teaching this, next semester in fall again. So this is from last year's syllabus. So let me just showing you the syllabus on a very high level. I don't want to show you everything. As you can see, this is a long syllabus. So from the reading, there is books, but this is a book that from Stanford. Yeah, Trevor Noah. This is a very complicated book. It's mostly focusing on stats. So we covered this book, and also we talk about, these are the two better books, that kind of gives and these are more theoretical, and the required programming for this course when I'm teaching is R programming. Sometimes I give them an option also do Python. By the way, Python is very hot in data mining or data science background. As a matter of fact, same in cybersecurity. If you have to program, usually people prefer using Python. But again, R is also statistical analysis program. So the reason the highlight is R here, someone who's graduating with a data analytics track. And by the way, the people that's taking this course, it would be, this is not a CSC major. This is more like a computer science, or you can say computer information systems, but their concentration is on data analytics. So it's a data analytics background, which I don't think Bangladesh has it. All of you are graduating as like just a CSC, okay? And I was I looked at your syllabus, or 1 or 2 year prior syllabus, where you do have this course in your master's program, the course that I'm talking about. So anyway, the more interesting things are, and also from that third book that I was mentioning from Stanford, it is a very well-known book. And they do have all of their lectures in YouTube. And also their our programming assignments are assigned from that book. The project, I will talk about it again. And then there is, I have the informations how you can download the R's and stuff. And by the way, like I said, don't feel like you need to take notes or anything, because if anyone is interested on any of this, I can email you. So just let me know. So anyway, there is different, as you can see, I post the links. When I'm teaching, I prefer students to grab information from the outside, meaning most of the time from the web. Yes, Ripon, I will share with you later. This is actually the syllabus for the course. And what I wanted to, for the students, that you can see the goal here, after they finish this course, they should be able to hit the market as a data analytics person. So that's why you can see there is an assignment that's been assigned. There is also peer evaluation, meaning each student is evaluating the other student's contribution for the course or for the projects. And of course, there is exams as usual. There is also assignments, and of course assignments. So this is just to show you that how me as a person, or usually these are general actually, my other colleagues in the US, they're teaching a course like this. Okay, so having said that, I think that's and the other thing that I wanted to show you is the day-to-day schedule, and this is just a grading. So anyway, so as you can see, usually week 1 I would be covering the lecture that I'm talking to you as well. Again, your lecture is a little modified, and I do talk a little bit about our programming, and then most of the stuff, this lecture is taken from these 2 books, Hand in Hand, and then it goes on. As you can see, we have 15 weeks. Last week is the that final, but these are the different topics that we discuss based on the data mining. Again, don't misunderstand. This is not a machine learning course. This is not a deep learning course. This is a data mining. So we are mostly playing with data here. Okay, there is a differences. If someone coming with the machine learning background or deep learning background, they will understand completely what it is. But just to give you in one sentence, machine learning, deep learning mostly deals with images and videos or voices. Here we are mostly dealing with the text, or you can say even actually kind of a database concept. So anyway, that goes mostly on this syllabus. I think I'm actually already running out of time. Please do let me know if anyone has to leave, because I'm only in the 5th lecture. So anyway, in the this lecture outline, I had all this. So I already showed you how the syllabus looks like. And then at the first day, or actually before we even first day, and this is the outline of this lecture that I'm covering today. So I have, instead of, let me just go over what I do. We already talked about the syllabus. I have students actually give me these days I do a Google survey. So before even they start the class, they kind of give me all this information, of course, their name and what are the course, in your case, it's a CSC course they have taken, their math background, their statistic background, if they have any IT or working background, and if they have any data proficiency, and how many classes they registered for that semester. In US, students has the flexibility, unless they're full-time. There is a minimum and max they can register for, and everybody's goal is they want to graduate in maybe 6 months. Of course, it's a 4-year degree, so they take a lot of classes, and then later they suffer. So anyway, and then I asked them how many hours they want to devote for this class, and then what is the expectation from me, and then anyway, and also I asked them if they have any tips for me. This is day 1, okay? And what's their future goal, and if they're interested in doing future research. This is a brand new field, just came to the market a few years back. So when I was a student, this field didn't exist, okay? So, that's why there are lots and lots of research going on. So, and this is the highlight of the whole course. As you can see, I am, the introduction is in the first lecture, which is not even here. I am showing, actually, sorry, it's here. So 1, 2, sometimes I cannot finish R and all that stuff in week 1. So we go a little farther. And then I also have to talk about data processing. This is a very important concept to understand for a machine learning, not machine learning, for data analytics or data science person, to how to process their data. So this doesn't even cover in this course, okay? This is the prereq, meaning they have another course. That I also will be teaching. We call that the CIS 3120. I think it's called business Python for business analytics. So it's a very advanced level Python course, where basically I'll give you a few sentence overview. What it is, somebody give you a market analysis. Like say you have in Dhaka, you want to find out what is the best product that's been sold in different stores, okay, on its different supermarket. So I'm not very familiar with Dhaka, So I cannot give a very specific example, the good stores or good departmental store. So I'll take the US or New York as an example. So like say Macy's, what is the hot cake that's going on all over the US in Macy's? Okay, so to understand something like that, now when you get the data from the customer, the data is in very raw format. Customer doesn't understand how really that data should be formatted. So they give you some kind of, we call it garbage. Okay, so now you have to process that data to bring a meaningful format that could be analyzed for data mining, data analytics, data science, whatever you're talking. So there is a prereq data processing that has to happen before you even try to do a data mining or data analytics or data science, whatever, which level you want to talk. By the way, they all come to the same channel. And also for CSC students that you're joining, before even data processing, you have to understand what is data. So the good news is you guys have a course called database where they teach you what is database, how to create the data and stuff. And again, I know for Ripon, this is a piece of cake. So, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure most of it is you may be familiar always. And by the way, the person Ripon that I keep mentioning, he's a friend of mine. So he joined also from Dhaka, and he's saying maybe. Anyway, he has 20 years of professional IT background like the way I do. So, you can, and he's a rich guy. Sometime maybe you can get a free coffee from Team Market or something and get him. Anyway, so, so these are some of the topics. After we talk about data processing, I just give little idea to the students about what is data processing. But again, this is covers in another course, so we don't talk about too much about it. And later, towards the end, I will show you what is the data analytics track that we cover in Baruch College. And then, of course, towards the end, you will see that some things that I'll talk about the job market as well. So then we directly go into the data mining or data. Yes, these are data mining techniques. Classification. And here, as you can see, I do talk about a little bit about the concept. There is decision trees, there is naive-Bayes algorithm, there is k-nearest neighbor, there is neural networks. Then when we talk about the clustering, we talk about k-means. We talk, again, these are buzzwords for you. So don't please get confused or get thinking like, where am I? That I don't have any clue what's going on. That's fine. You would, if you are someone who is going into this field, you will be talking about or hearing about them on a daily basis. So anyway, then we talk about the association. Just to give you a highlight about the association. So association means you're talking about associativity. Actually, it comes later a little bit. So you like say when you go to the store, like say you want to buy a pencil, for example, and what comes after the pencil? You want to write to a pad, for example. Or if I take in the computer, you buying a laptop. I mean, I know with these days, computer comes with VGAs and all that stuff. So after that, maybe you want to buy an external, CD drive or whatever with that. So this association, what it does actually, it kind of tries to understand the customer behavior, what should be next to each other. Okay. So as a data miner or data science or data analytics person, mostly it's data science, they kind of come up with the prediction algorithm analysis that, okay, now that you have put the laptops, maybe put the cell phone next to it. Someone who is attracted to a laptop most likely will buy a cell phone as well. So that's just to give you a highlight idea how this works, okay? And then of course, all of this goes into the text mining or social network analysis. So now, of course, what is this? So text mining could be something like, say, now you go into like the Twitter or Facebook, and you're trying to understand, like say you have friends list. How many of your friends like what you are putting in there? I mean, of course, you can go them individually, but like say if you're putting thousands of posts every day, individually sorting them out is not very easy. Okay, so you can have a program do all this analysis and do the rating for you. Okay, like say you can think of Saqib Al Hasan, for example. We have a lot of fans, right? The whole Bangladesh is his fan, right? So now he wants to find out, like, what is his fan thinking about that he's been kicked out of cricket now, right? So right, that he can be done, or someone, a data scientist, can do this analysis for him and say, look, Saqib, when you come back 2 years or 3 years down the line, this is what you should do. And then you will get the same field as you had before you had all this problem, right? So that kind of meaning you're analyzing the social network data set, or it could be also a business, right? Even going back to Macy's can analyze and try to understand that, hey, what is our customer thinking about it? So all those stuff. So, okay. All right. So going back down again, if any of you have any question, please put it in the chat. So since I think took the half an hour time. So I think I'm gonna, how many of you are interested to go have me go over on these data mining lectures? Otherwise, I will directly go in. Let me go back to the lecture outline. So far, I just gave you, actually, I haven't even covered this, okay? So later I was gonna go a deep overview of all these topics slightly, what it is. Again, this was the first lecture. Yes, I mean, going back, Ripon, you in the chat, you said political reading. That, yeah, that's a very good example. Yes, that's correct. The Republican versus Democrat. Yes. As a matter of fact, Obama got elected using the data science technology in 2008. So anyway, and Trump is also using that heavily, as all the political figures in this country now, they use this data science heavily. As a matter of fact, New York Corona is also heavily being used by these data scientists now. So that's how they're tracking. So anyway, what I might do, because this will be a long lecture. So how many people are interested, have me talk about any of this? Because again, I know, maybe some of you are busy you have to deal with something else. Just Ripon is the one who is putting up stuff in the chat line. So how many of you are interested me talking about this topic? Okay. All right, good. So hopefully you have time. Minimum, it's going to be another half an hour if I go reading. Is anyone else? Okay, wow, I see. Okay, Ripon is saying too. Okay. All right. So I will try to be quick then. Okay. All right. So, you kind of heard me talking about why data mining, and Ripon shared as well. So, there is some of the stuff like, the data is increasing. It's a huge, if you go to YouTube, just check the data warehouse for Facebook. They're adding servers every day, okay? Even though as an end user, we see that like, wow, Facebook, imagine billions of users using this tool every day, right? So how much data they need to store, and they don't delete anything. Even though you are the one who thinks that, oh, you posted something bad, or you didn't want that post to be shown, you deleted it, it doesn't go away from Facebook world. Anything you've made a click, as soon as you made the click, that's it, okay? And guess what? It's $1 billion industry. You and I don't pay a single penny for it. Why do you think they're getting the money from, right? Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO and the owner of this Facebook, he's a billionaire, right? It's not only him, all of his associates are billionaire. So where is he getting all this money from? Advertisements, okay? And there was a time I was looking at, in a survey, actually how much they make out of each customer or each Facebook user, and their most customer attention is in the US. Okay, I think it was in 2018 when I checked, it was $79 for US, and for India it was 70 or 80 cents. Bangladesh was not in the list at that time, so I'm sure now the new data will show Bangladesh as well. So it's not that high for Bangladesh or India, because I don't think that many people really in Bangladesh take the advertisement from the Facebook and buy things. But in US, it's very big. So anyway, That's the whole reason. Anything you do in Facebook or any social media, it doesn't go away. So anyway, so now, and Facebook has an API, which is called Application Programming Interfaces. You can extract their data and do analysis on that data. So they let you collect the data. Okay. So anyway, and as you know, there's a fight going on between Trump and Facebook because a lot of people are saying this is not ethical, that Trump is bringing hatred and all this using Facebook. So, you know, at the end, they're looking into the business. So because Trump do have a lot of followers and they end up making more money using his, personality. So anyway, so here, petabytes, terabytes, hopefully you are familiar. If you're not familiar with it, you're familiar with gigabytes. So this is much higher than that. So, you know, we collect the data and of course, make sure the data is available. And the major, the data sources, mainly you have a business in the science, and of course the society. Basically everyone is hungry about data. Okay. For example, in Bangladesh, you know, Corona is like right now is a pandemic going on, even, and in US as well. You know, in New York, we are in better shape right now. Just if I go back, even I was every day I was checking, try to find out what's happening with the Corona. Or when you're checking the news, you actually are looking for data. Okay, so everyone and anyone, you know, if you think of yourself, like say you want to go to a school today, you want to find out how the like, you know, condition of the country, like say for example, right? Or you want to buy something, you want to find out how the market is, right? So if you think about in deeper terminology, we all are hungry for data, and at the end this is all about data. Okay, so, and that's what it says, we are drowning in data but starving for knowledge. Now of course, most of the cases, the data we are seeing in front of us, these are pre-processed data. Okay, so that means this data has been processed for us. So within that humongous data, now I want to find out the data that I need. Okay, for example, if I'm in the ocean, I am trying to like, you know, grab some fish, and some specific fish, like say for example, you know, Rupchanda, for example, is if I take a Bangladeshi fish, or Ilish, right? Usually Ilish comes from the Podda, right? But anyway, so think of I'm ocean, and there is a reason I'm giving this that example. In an ocean, now you are looking for some specific, or like say treasure. There is some hidden treasure that you want to find out. Now, how do you know where that treasure is? You might be spending your entire life, 20, 30, 50 years, trying to find out that treasure, and still you might not be successful, right? Because you don't know where this data is. But, you know, in a database world, we try to find out technique. And that's what the data mining is actually helping you. These are the different techniques, either data mining or data analytics. And again, these are different tracks. And usually data science is the one who kind of the big guy who knows how to do data mining, who knows how to do data analytics and all that stuff. So anyway, so basically we are trying to find out the specific knowledge that I want to acquire based on that data set. Okay. Again, you can take a newspaper as an example. You try to look at a newspaper. You're only interested on the Corona concept in the newspaper. Now you have to go through every single pages, try to see where the Corona is being talked about, right? However, if they have a specific section, like say page 3, column 1, only focuses on Corona, and next day you go, you see, oh, page 3, column 1, and there it is. So that's the knowledge I am trying to acquire from my, in this case. So, you know, and again, when we are talking about data, again, if you go into the Facebook world, it's Google world, it's humongous. Okay, so not everything is data mining. So if I'm trying to find out someone that in someone's information, that's not a data mining, because it's already in the directory. I'm not someone who has to do a lot of work for it and trying to find out a model or build a model or try to do something. So for example, I have it here, what is not data mining, and what is data mining. Okay, so now if I'm looking for data in a specific location, that could be a data mining. Or if I'm trying to sort out some specific documents, trying to understand its outcome, that could be a data mining. Okay, just querying Amazon in the Google is not a data mining. Okay, so there is a distinction. And where does the data mining comes from? Again, as I said, this this field didn't exist back in 2000, or even I would say 2010. Okay, this is fairly new. However, don't think that this concept didn't exist. You saw that this is coming from stats. And the Stanford that I was mentioning, that book, they have been teaching this course since 70s. So imagine. So don't get frustrated. And I was sharing this with Galib, that something you learn today, maybe 20 years down the line, it will be useless. Okay, I'm sure Ripon will agree with me. There are certain things that we did in college back in 97, 98. We still use them. Okay, yes, most of the stuff is useless. We're not using majority of the stuff you're going to learn. You may not use that, but that might, see, he's agreeing with me. Okay, so the problem is you don't know what's useful, what's going to be useless. And it's same for us. And again, he will agree with you. It's good that we have him. Thank you, Ripon, for having me. Joining this, because that way these guys can really understand the differences. It's not me only who is talking. So, field is changing, but the concept is not. So basically, we are kind of revisiting the same concept in different ways. Okay, and the field is moving based on the market demand. Okay, Facebook came in the world, and there is people. Okay, now another person just joined. So anyway, welcome, Anam. Thank you for joining. You didn't miss much. So it's an introductory lecture. So anyway, this is surrounded, as you can see, we are talking about here, data mining is in the middle between stats, machine learning, pattern recognition, and of course down there is the database systems. Now, again, there is another thing also that comes. This is a general outline for be a data miner or data mining person. However, it's also field specific. So knowing the business is very important. So for example, if you work for pharmaceutical company, you might think this is the pharmacist's job, right? To understand what is the medicine and all that stuff. But if you are someone who is data mining or data science or data analytics person for that field, you need to have some level of business knowledge on that field as well. Okay, so that's why, as I said earlier, the field is moving in different directions. As you saw when I was sharing with you, I'm someone who comes from the education background. You tell me about registration system, about CUNY, I can tell you in and out. Maybe from you guys, where you are in Bangladesh, it seems simple, straightforward. But since we, as the IT person, we have to support the campuses or the colleges, there are different ways that things happen. And these are already pre-structured, and it all happens online. So basically, we, as the IT people, has to build all these business logics. And the better I understand the business, there's business people who handles the business, but the better I understand the business logics, it's much easier for me to build the business. To build the programming logic for it. So now, for those of you, CSC major that you're joining, you might be thinking like, where am I going to learn this business logic? That means you have to do the work for that industry. So it will come after you started the working. It's not going to come in a year. As you go along, you're going to understand and to get better on it. Okay, so hang in there. Maybe some of you might be already frustrated that what am I learning, what am I doing, but you are really in a great field, because everything is becoming computerized. So you have to take this as a challenge, and most important is passion. The same way you guys are crazy about video games, the same way you have to be crazy with something, whatever it's cybersecurity, or it could be a data mining, it could be game development, whatever it is. You have to have the thirst or a passion, or have some kind of motivation that I want to learn this. and I want to learn because I want to do XYZ. Okay. And again, Ripon might agree with me, when we were sitting back in 97, 98 in campuses in our computer science courses, a lot of times we were bored. We had no clue what we are doing, right? You know, because we were totally lost. Like say, and I still remember a lot of classes I was falling in sleep, and I'm sure you may be going through the same problem because you've been thrown into see, he's agreeing with me. Thank you, Ripon. And I'm sure you all can see in the chat that he's because he's the someone I started college together here in back in 97. Okay. So anyway, yes, data science, there is a big learning curve. If someone you are studying as a fresh, you need to actually learn from a different perspective. And if I were you, and if those of you who want to be a data scientist, your focus should be on a specific field. And nowadays, Google gives you most of the answer. Even for my father, he's a heart patient, or my mother, she's a diabetic patient. A lot of times when doctor is saying me certain things, I even see doctors Googling actually for different things, okay? Because the operations or the procedures they used to do 10, 15 years ago, it's not done the same way. Because now the doctors has to upgrade himself or herself. In front of me, actually, I see doctor Googling all these technologies. So Google is a big, big thing that will help you all along. It's been helping us, me, like, you know, everyone. So you will have to get used to. And when you, any of you, I mean, I don't, you're not my, none of you are my student, but if any of my student is taking, I have a nickname called Mr. Google. And the whole reason is I try to push it so much that, you know, sometimes I don't answer questions. I say, go check in the Google. Because, you know, and I have instructors from directly from Google, and I have seen them in the class as well. They were actually Googling there for information. So anyway, so there is nothing about memorization here or anywhere in the in our computing world. It's a practice. The more we practice, and Anam, please feel free to actually, you know, as Ripon is being very active, mashallah. So for these guys, as you can, I think you can see we have 6 students from Bangladesh joined actually. So motivate them or try to give them an encouragement, like, you know, hopefully that they're not bored with their background. So anyway, going back here, so we are dealing with data, but when we have to understand the data, we have to understand these techniques, okay? And data mining is one of the subject that helps you to, you know, understand that. So there is the whole process. As you can see, this is the data. And again, by the way, when you are seeing the Facebook, you are seeing the user interface of the Facebook, okay, or Twitter, or anything that you're seeing a user programming interface, or even if you're game development, okay, in the back behind the scene, that this game is being recorded, every move, the move that you are taking, and they can analyze on this game, you know, and based on that, users like, you know, excuse me, feedback, they can actually really design their next game, what could be the hot cake in the market. So anyway, so this is all the database backend. And then as you can see, the first thing is the data cleaning. And as I said, we cover another course for that, doing how the data cleaning has to happen. So anyone, someone like you in Baruch College taking my class as an undergrad or graduate, they kind of come as a fresh, meaning might not have any computer background, someone like, say, you guys, okay? So we kind of prepared them based on background, you know, so anyway, they have to take the courses. And at the end, do they become an expert? No, not at all. But they do have knowledge, okay, how things can be handled. The expertise comes once you start playing with the, as a matter, thank you, Anam, for like, you know, pitching in. As you can see, he just, he said Shio. So anyway, so as you more do work on the industry, or as you more play with these things, you don't have to work in an industry. You can sit at your home and start playing as different projects. As a matter of fact, towards the end of this lecture, I will show you certain things that will help you, hopefully, how you can be targeting yourself 5, 4, or 10, 5 years down the line when you graduate, and you are ready to actually become an at least data analytics person, even if it's not a data scientist. Okay, so anyway, so here you can see data cleaning and integration happens, and the data warehouse, by the way, there's another course also that I teach at Baruch. You know, last semester I had 61 students for this course. This was a graduate master's course. I also teach that in undergrad. So that's another database course. So that's for data analytics as well. Then, you know, after all this happens, then selection happens, then you see this task relevant. What it is means, remember earlier I was talking about the medicine, education. So depending on what task that you are interested on, that's what we mean by task related. Okay. Then now you started doing the data mining. Okay. See, and then you try to understand the pattern. See, this is a chart, right? You're trying to make sense. And earlier, Ripon mentioned about a Democratic and the Republican. For those of you who are familiar or not familiar, it's an election year for US. It's a big thing for us, because if Trump comes, we are like, you know, in big trouble. Maybe some of you as well. But if the Joe Biden comes, hopefully we'll have some relief. But anyway, so at the end, I gathered the knowledge that I am interested in. Okay, so hopefully the lecture that I was trying to explain earlier, that kind of goes into. So see, I'm now giving an example of web mining. How does it work? You have a data cleaning integration. So actually it's always kind of the same chart that I just showed you. I mean, you might not be doing data warehouse, but it's kind of the similar channel in general. Okay, now you put it into a specific field, which is web mining being talked here. Okay, you can analyze data based on Amazon. You can do a data, Google Analytics, spam mail filtering. This is a cybersecurity field. Okay. By the way, you do also data mining on cybersecurity. So eventually, it's someone who has a data science background. They can be a good cybersecurity expert as well, or cybersecurity scientist. Anyway, so by the way, also I'm trying to have one of my friend, or one of my colleague, who is a cybersecurity expert, maybe join next week. He might be giving a short lecture for you guys to really talk about someone real from the industry who has the background to talk about it. So anyway, we'll discuss next class about that. So same pattern. Okay, what you saw in the previous slide is the same. Cleaning the data, integrating from the different sources. Again, this is important because, you know, you might be collecting data from mobile. I'm just giving a general example. You could be collecting data from website. You could be collecting data from someone's laptop, PC. So, you know, or, you know, you name it, the different sources of data coming from. So that needs to be integrated very well. You can build a warehouse and data cube, create a cube representation to build a nice chart or analytics for, and then doing this selective data for data mining, and then of course do the data mining and then presentation the result and give the result to the end user or whoever is looking for that data. Okay, so now business intelligence, another field, as I said in the CUNY CIS, that was what I was doing, BI, expertise. So similar, see, source coming from the different source, processing, exploration. So behind the scene, if you look at it, it's the same course material they will be learning in the course. Now, based on the business, the data behavior or the pattern will be different. Okay, hopefully I was able to, yes, Ripon is just mentioned Data Mart. Data Mart is actually a smaller branch of the data warehouse. So, you know, it could be a Data Mart, it could be a data warehouse. So anyway, and you can have, you know, data warehouse, combination of multiple Data Mart can be a data warehouse. So that's, again, another course that we covered, the complete course just on the data warehouse. So, yes. Okay, so here now, as you can see, the perspective from the machine learning and the statistics point of view, how the data gets into the data mining or data, basically trying to, I know Ripon is, I think, interested on understanding what is the machine learning. So I meant to say it earlier, the similar concept that you might be learning in data mining, most of it is being used in machine learning. So it's a similar concept. The data set is different. Okay. So see, so we are doing, integrating data, normalization, feature selection, dimension reduction, and, so I will. Oops. And this is a medical data example. So I'm going to go a little quick because just, again, just to give you a high level understanding of how different industry would see this. And again, this is the multi-dimensional view of the data mining, it goes big. And again, this was the first lecture. So basically I kind of give a whole overview of the whole course. So for people to understand that what is the expectation, in the class. So what kind of data out there, some of it is get covered in your database courses that you guys will be taking. So it's just talking about different levels of data. So for those of you who are interested, I'll share this slide with you. So hopefully you don't lose anything. If you're interested, we can talk more detail into it. So it's, these are now coming into the different functionality of the data mining. Some is the first one is the generalization. Here we are doing some kind of generalized of the data set. And again, we go more deep into it as the course goes. And then association, I did talk a little bit about the association and the correlation. Again, the whole idea behind is you're trying to see what items are frequently purchased together in your Walmart. Like Walmart is a store here, right? So, then, I don't like this example, but anyway, I just took it. I should have changed it. So if somebody's buying a diaper versus the beer comes next to each other. So, again, there is a concept behind these things. So that's what we cover. And then the classification. These are different kind of, again, algorithm or technique that we apply for data miners. Okay, as a data miner, see, you have example, classify countries based on climate, classify cars based on the gas mileage. All right, so you can use this in the classification. These are some of the examples and the different methods that we apply: decision trees, naive Bayesian classification, support vector machines, neural networks, rule-based classification, pattern-based recognition, logistic regression. So again, some of these gets used in machine learning. Okay, all of this you have it in machine learning. Okay, it's the same concept, but the usage is a little different. Okay, and of course, credit card fraud detection or direct marketing, classifying the stars, diseases. You can go on and on. Cluster analysis. I didn't want to go too deep. Oh, it's right there. There is different kinds of data. Supervised learning versus unsupervised learning. This is the data that we don't know actually ahead of time what kind of data we are dealing with. So that's when we do cluster analysis. Okay, so we kind of put them in different kind of classes. So for example, take Corona as an example. You want to find out where people have been heavily affected, and then based on that criteria, as a matter of fact, they're doing it, right? Tracer in New York, we have the Tracer program. They know where this Corona has been heavily affected. Okay, so anyway, that's another method. And then outlier, basically sometimes you might have issues because when you are dealing with data, some of these data okay, thank you, Anam, for sharing the ETL. That's actually we covered in the okay, yes, COVID-19 project. Yeah, so see there, you guys are lucky that you have two expertise here that they're sharing. So check on the chat line. They're sharing things for you guys. So ETL, since you just mentioned, sorry for backtracking, ETL is not actually a data mining. Just to give you a better conceptual understanding, like that covers in actually data warehouse. Again, after the lecture, hopefully you'll have a distinction understanding what is the differences between them. So ETL stands for extract, transform, load. So that's basically when you're loading the data to a warehouse. Okay, so that happens before the data mining even comes into play. So once you load the data warehouse or in a data server, wherever you're loading that data, then you extract some data set out of that to do your data mining. And data mining is mostly creating models. Okay, and data warehouse is mostly trying to come up with an analytics decisions to try to understand behavior of the people, or basically you are analyzing your historical data to understand behavior. So but at the end, kind of understanding is a similar mindset, that they're trying to understand the business, or they're trying to understand the for future, or what could be the future of the a corporation or the organization. So I know it's a lot of information, so that's why it's sometimes it could be confusing where things goes. But if you are studying this more frequently, you can very easily get better understanding what's going on. So anyway, going back to outlier. Outlier is actually something where you have somebody totally out of and again, Ripon shared actually where the COBET, thanks guys, you're actually helping me for next semester as well. Anyway, so outlier is something like it's totally out of the blue. So anyway, let me give you what happens once we do a data mining project, or create a model doing the data mining techniques that I just showed you as a very high level. So at the end, you come up with a result. Okay, so now that result comes up with a percentage. So, and there's going to be error. So based on your model maturity, I call it maturity, that you could say 80% correct or 90% correct. Now, or you could say 99% correct, which is very unlikely. Usually 80% correct, or you can say that 80% will fit, 20% will come error. That you could say more or less, yes, my model is will work in here. And a lot of times when we look at the data, we might not understand what kind of technique we should apply. You could be spending months and years trying to analyze the data and coming up with a solid model. As a matter of fact, the research that I did, YouTube watch next video. So basically what YouTube does, and it's an actually it's a data analysis project. So anytime you're watching something, it kind of tries to put it in a model and trying to give you what would be your next choice. Again, it's a prediction. All right. And I still nowadays, when I'm looking into, I play with it sometime, because that was my PhD research project or part of it. So still they have not matured that product, meaning a lot of times if I'm watching on something like say Corona, something else will pop up. Okay, so it's still, there is a maturity that's missing on this project. Okay, so if any of you are interested, hopefully you understood what I was talking. YouTube, when you go to YouTube, you try to watch something, you do a search, and then YouTube gives other recommendations, and then those recommendations is actually based off a model that's being built. Okay, and that's an example of a good example of a data model as well. So outlier is something that way off. Now, of course, if you keep this outlier, that's gonna reduce your error rate. Okay, so now, like say, most of your data is in one location. Now this is something I'm going to use maybe Enam as an example. I'm doing this in New York. Most of you are in Bangladesh. Actually, me and Enam is kind of like an outlier in this case. Okay, I'm in the New York City and he's in Buffalo. All right, so we are way far off. Now somebody is analyzing my lecture, that how many people attended, and they want to understand based on the demographic. So me and Enam will be an outlier. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And a lot of times you have to get rid of this outlier, because otherwise you will have wrong output, or error rate will be increasing. And similar noise is similar. It's like, so like I said, now I'm running the lecture. If any of you had your mic on and there was background noise going on, so it's a similar concept. Okay, so anyway, hopefully that, and you will see this if you're doing a data mining or data science. This is quite common. Okay, and time is a very important factor. And again, I apologize that I thought I would be done in half an hour, but we crossed more than an hour, and Zoom didn't kick me out because I recorded. I was hoping that I would be done in half an hour, but anyway. So we are still on. Excuse me. So there are lots of data analysis that happens based on the time. So, this is kind of like, an example of giving you a sequential pattern 10 or different evaluation analysis. So basically the example of doing a data analysis or data science using time as a factor. Okay, this is not only for data science. I'm sure Ripon and Anam will agree with me. There are lots and lots of programmings that we do based on the time, because there is always a factor that we have to take into consideration. So at this moment, if I'm looking for something, where is that moment coming from? And a lot of times we kind of trick, we use the system time. Okay, the computer where the, see, yeah, Ripon is agreeing with me. So you take actually the system time of that moment. So as a user, we get fooled. We say, wow, they did something for me instant. Meaning like, at this moment, whatever I did, that became a reality, right? But behind the scene, we are using the system time actually, which is your system time. So basically I'm in the US, or Anam is in the US, and we are saying Sunday morning, or actually it's right now afternoon, after 12, and you are saying Sunday night or evening, right? So it fools you. Anyway, so here is some examples. Like, you can look at the pattern, like when first they bought a digital camera, then going into SD cards and blah blah blah, and see some other examples as well. And here, see biological analysis, sequence analysis. This is important. As a matter of fact, this will become a hot cake once the quantum hits. The quantum computing, that's another world. I did little research on that as well. So once the quantum computing comes, you will see there is a huge difference on the computing world, because we cannot really analyze our gene. We cannot analyze, like this corona. This might have been a piece of cake if the quantum computer was a stable machine, okay? Because computing has lots of limitations these days. I mean, it still is quite impossible. And as I mentioned about Facebook, see, so there is graph mining, right? This is again, graph mining, graph database is something that's like, for example, in Facebook friend suggestion. Okay, so how do they suggest the phrase to you, this suggestion? Because they kind of do a graph analysis, sees that you are connected. Like, say for example, me or Enam or Galib or Araf, those people who know me, or Ripon, if they're my friend in my Facebook and they have friends that I'm not friend with, so behind the scene they have the data mining technique that's being applied, that will automatically actually work on this and then give me the suggestion. So anyway, there is some other stuff. Oops, sorry, I see some people I think have to go. So and I'll skip the evaluation part. Then this is, as you can see, what are the disciplines that it affects data mining. Again, data mining and machine learning is two different fields, okay? And of course, as you can see, they kind of hit in everywhere, okay? So, and of course, it's not, these are mostly the computing field that we are talking about, okay? So, this is where data mining also gets into effect. And I think I can skip it. Why, and these are different applications of data mining. Okay, again, once I share with you the slides, you can look more into it. And again, for some of you, some of it you might be not familiar, and some of it is you might be familiar, which is okay. So I think I'm going to skip a few slides and directly go into the project that I here. Okay, good. So this is the project that I assigned student. This is a semester-long project. Okay. So first they have to come up with, why they are doing this project. So for that, of course, few classes has been passed already. So they kind of have an understanding or a little bit of understanding what is expected. So again, after finishing this lecture, I don't expect any of you to complete this project, because again, you have to really educate yourself to understand a little deeper on the theoretical component. So once you have the understanding of better on the theory, then of course you will be for example, like what is a linear regression? What is a logistic regression? What is text analysis? What is association? So then you will be able to have a better understanding, what is the project that I'm looking for. Because what happens, the data that you will be choosing for doing this project, this is where the trick comes from. That data plays a big important role, because you might be doing a regression analysis, but you did an unsupervised data set. Of course, that's not going to work, okay? Because that's a linear data that's required to do that analysis. So anyway, so after you take the data, and again, I don't help them much with this. They're completely on their own. So again, those of you who plan to do these things, you would be able to do it yourself as well. I already taught this course 2 times, so I kind of have an understanding of how, what is the outcome that comes, and at the end, it comes out great. So anyway, they might be taking a large data set, but remember, this building model takes a while to build. So that's why I tell them to take in a small data set. So first do the pre-processing, try to understand the data. And again, they take the data from the internet. Okay, I will show you later a few places that where you can play with the data if you want to. Okay, after the pre-processing the data, again, as you can see, they are reducing the data to fit for the model. Okay, and a few other things happens. The transformation can happen. They can create new data set, and of course eliminate unnecessary data set. So for that, you really need a database, a little bit of database background, understand what things to happen, and again, that other course that I mentioned as well. Okay, so and then you come up with what are the techniques that you can apply. And in my course, when I'm teaching this, the goal, I mean, they have to actually do minimum 3, and of course the 3 from different varieties. So again, as you can see, I'm kind of forcing them to learn things. Some of them don't like it. Why? Because I'm making them do the work, right? But they appreciate once they go into the field and say that professor, you did a great job by forcing us, teaching us those things. And again, I'm not teaching them, it's they're learning themselves. So anyway, these are different techniques. And again, of course, they do a presentation. Multiple presentations happens in the class. At the beginning, they're totally confused. They have no idea what to do. And last it's fun. Anyway. So, and towards the end, they become an expert. Sometimes I learn things from them as well. So, and then, of course, they give a result at the end, and they don't deploy it in the real world because we don't have a real life problem. But this is how it would come at the end. This model will be applied. So again, the difference between data analysis and data mining or data science, I would say, in data analysis, you kind of take the data, raw data, and build a warehouse through an ETL, and then you actually build the data, what do you call the different charts and diagrams, dashboards, stuff like that. But in a data mining world, you create a model for it. Or in a data science, basically we say, where machine learning, it could be deep learning, you create the model for it. Okay, so this is a 3 to 4 months project. They do finish on time, and at the end they come up with a report actually. So it's a 15 sometime it could be 30-page long report. They have to actually give me all the sequences that they went through. Okay, so sorry. So I think I will kind of skip most of the rest, especially because I want to show you what is required for you folks in Bangladesh. But just to give you an understanding, when you are applying for jobs, you will see if you're applying as a data science or data mining or data analytics, you will see this terminology. Okay, so at the beginning, I was also confused when say you have to have a knowledge about prediction methods or description methods. So you have to have some level of distinction. What do they really mean? Okay, so and of course, the more you study on this, you can really understand. And as you can see, this is from 1996, right? Okay, so anyway, so see, I also highlighted, remember I was just mentioning about regression, logistic regression, linear regressions. So these are actually, see, predictives, see, classification, regressions, these are predictive models. And then clustering, association rules, sequential pattern, or deviation detections, these are predictive models. So again, these are actual models that, you have to understand the theoretical component. And here I'm talking about the regression. This directly comes from stats or statistics. All right. So, it's, as I said, in statistics, it's been there since 70s. And I mentioned that, you're there at the Stanford, they are teaching about it, that course, YouTube lectures. So, and again, this is a classification. I'm giving a high level examples and stuff. So I'm going to go very quick on this. This is actually, I think, leading into a decision tree model. So, since we are already here, so again, this is going deep into the course. This is since in the first lecture, I kind of give them an quite understanding what is happening with the course. So these are different, as you can see, classification models and applications that I'm trying to show them. Even classifying galaxies, right? This would be a good one for our Ashraf Einstein. Okay, so in one of the Facebook posts, I see he doesn't believe into this data science. Anyway, that's his problem. There is the clustering. Again, this is covered towards the end of the semester because this is a little more tricky. And as I'm showing here, the clustering, how the clustering is shown. And now he's laughing. Okay. So anyway, so here more, again, these are real problems. Don't think that just it's a part of theory. It's there is people benefiting big time out of these things. So 10 years ago, this could have been maybe I would say a dream, but these are now reality. Okay. And like I said, in New York City, I can say for New York City, most of the campuses, they are laying off professors because they don't have enough enrollment, and Baruch is completely opposite. You know why? Because they do have both cybersecurity and this data analytics track. And in both of my classes, I'm just praying that I have less students that I have to deal with. 40, both of them has 40, meaning 80 students I have to deal with next semester. And of course, I don't like it. So anyway, but that's the reality, because too many students, you don't really able to teach much. So anyway, sorry, it's been recorded. Hopefully no one from Baruch is listening. So it's, as you can see, this is the stock data that's doing a clustering analysis. Again, this is very high level, and this is about association discovery rule, about doing market store pattern. See, bread, Coke, milk, stuff that you can have, and then how that rules get applied. So I'm trying to give you a very small high level because we spend the whole semester on these things. And again, the real even I talk after the class, student at the end of the semester, I take feedbacks, and they say, Professor, when you are talking, we are completely lost. So I know some of you might be lost as well, but they say we really learn it when we do it ourselves. So there you go. So I give you the secret as well. Okay. So you have to actually make your hands dirty. That's what I call them. All right. So here is different kinds of sequential patterns that's happening. And again, this is a different anomaly, meaning trying to understand, this is actually helpful for fraud, meaning where things can go wrong. And I remember I was mentioning this is also for cybersecurity. Okay. So that's where you're looking for some kind of fraud detections. Okay. As an example, I could say it's a pattern actually. So if I'm somebody who is most of the time shopping from New York City, all of a sudden I go to France or Bangladesh, they will block my credit card. Most of the cases, and that happens actually. You're supposed to let them notify them ahead of time that like you're traveling overseas, otherwise you will be blocked. And as a matter of fact, if I am drawing a big check, as I had a call actually this week, Monday, from a bank that I had to, it's a more than $50,000 that I had to draw a check for one of the projects that I'm doing. So anyway, so they call you to make sure that you are the right person. So meaning that's already an anomaly, meaning I'm not someone who is doing a frequent subtraction on the bank of 50,000 on a daily basis or stuff. So this is, a machine can detect this kind of anomalies easily. So anyway, I will, as you can see, the history of data mining starts in 1989. So this is not very very new industry. So even though it got into the market a little later. So anyway, sorry about the background noise. My mother and father is here to watch what I'm doing. Okay, so Khalid, you are celebrating now. Because of you, now they're interested too. So anyway, this is, and as I said, this is a quite new field. There are lots and lots of research going on. So this is where I'm talking about the research. And this is some of the recommended. And of course, this is not the only one. You have the free world Google out there. You can really find all the information. So my focus for Bangladeshi folks was here actually. So as you can see, I brought up that where the education is coming or what we are doing in the education. So let's start with Baruch. Oops, here. So as you can see, I have the links here as well. I'm showing you Baruch, then NYU Data Science Program, then Columbia Data Science Program, then of course currently this year, the best 20 data science program in the US that out there. And again, all of this was from Google. I did not got something secretly, okay? And in the data analytics bachelor's, you know what's going on and stuff. So anyway, I will, let me close this with the syllabus. So anyway, so in the Baruch College, what do we do? Again, this is where I teach. So we have, see, there is a general, I hope you can see it, right? Can someone just say yes, if you can see the web page? I think you can see it. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna continue. All right, thanks, Anna. So anyway, there is, as you can see, this is the general CIS line. This was there before, so I don't need to go over with this. But the one that I just highlighted was this, okay, where that course, oops. So here, as you can see, the first course they are taking, and of course they have other courses, you know, it's 120 credits. And as you can see, we have only 12 credits here. So CIS 3120, remember I was talking about data processing? That's the course they take first when they come up, if they're claiming they're coming into the data analytics track, okay? The second course they take is the database that you guys also take in your CSC for Bangladesh, okay? And then the third course they're taking is this one, which I'm just highlighted. And the fourth course that Enam was highlighting earlier about the ETL, that data warehousing. So again, I taught all of these courses actually. So I kind of have the idea what they teach or what they do. And then of course, they take another 3 courses as an elective. So as you can see, programming is there, you know, semantics, and I mean, you know, all kinds of data visualization is very, very important for data, but this is not a core course for them. But basically, anytime you are playing with data, visualization is very important. So usually they end up taking this course more or less. And as you can see, there is stat course as well, if they want to understand more about the regressions and stuff. And there is marketing course as well, same. So these are some of the electives that they have to take. And I think I will leave for the cybersecurity one for the next course, for the next lecture. But this is what we do at Baruch College. And this is same thing that you're seeing for the undergrad. Grad is same. Grad means master's, almost similar. Okay, totally identical. So I had a hard time finding this. So what is NYU does? This is a completely data science. And by the way, this is they just started. See, 2020, they just started this program. Okay, actually 5 years ago or even 2 years ago, we didn't think that undergrad is capable of handling data science work, but industry is changing very rapidly. Some of you proved us wrong. So now they're coming up with even majors in data science for undergrad. See, so of course, this might not tell you much. So for data science, these are the courses they're taking. This is, NYU CDC, the Center for Data Science. These are the courses they're taking for. And then this is from the computer science program that, they have to take for, see, and then of course there is math involved. So here they're showing the whole curriculum of what are the differences. And again, it's going to be about 120 credits. So of course you can very easily look through the URL. Then same with the Columbia, similar, you will see. Don't know if they're showing us. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. I don't know if I'll be able to. If I can't, I will. See, it also showed 2019 they came up with this program. Okay. So there is calculus. There is. I'm hoping that there is prereqs. And again, Columbia. This is a Ivy League campus. All right. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to show you guys. Be one of the best in the world. Okay, so these are the courses. All right, and as you can see, you do have some of these courses as well. So another reason I'm showing you that you are not actually too much diverted from your core CS background. So different campuses are treating it differently. See, there is Java as well. Okay, so and then of course again you can look at it. This is different tracks they're doing, on teaching courses on different people. So some of it is, you might see it again as we talk about the cybersecurity or other topic. So here, this is an article. So NYU Columbia is not on the list, but the sad part is still most of them are in master's degree. Okay, so even though they did say 20 best bachelor's program, but it's all output came as most of them was master's degree. So Syracuse, there, if you have time, you can look at it. What are they teaching? And of course, as a beginner, and I'm Iripon will be quite familiar what's maybe going on with them. For some of you, you might not understand, but it's a good resource to have, just to see what's going on in the world out there. So anyway, from that, I took one of them is, I think it's Webster, yeah, Webster University. It was one in the rank. So that came as an actually bachelor. Okay, so see, they have stat courses, they have mathematical courses, they have CIS courses. Some of you are upset, maybe are I heard from Khalid that you are learning about circuits. See, this is also someone, I think it's a hardware course as well, but I don't know for sure, but it might be also something about web. Okay, see, they have a course directly focused on R programming. Okay, so these are different, data science, see, data mining, the same course that we are talking about is right there. Data warehousing, there. Okay, database is there. Okay, and of course another course, data warehouse. So of course they're one of the top. There is reasons. Okay, so then I brought up, actually it's the next one that I think. So the next here, now I was just trying to show you career, USA career, for example. Again, I'm sure maybe most of you will be working from Bangladesh. Even if you're working from Bangladesh, you might be applying for projects in the US for outsourcing and stuff. And as I said earlier, I don't think in Bangladesh it is a big field yet. And Enam and Ripon can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it's coming. Okay, in the US, it's already a hot cake. As I mentioned, someone like Baruch, even like, you know, there is lots and lots of students are actually registering and graduating from this field. So I'm pretty sure that it will definitely hit in Bangladesh soon. And of course, as far as I know, maybe, of course, it's a big thing in India. So, you know, it's coming. Okay. So what I did, I just, you know, from the Google, then I did an, come on. So I did see there is data scientist. Now, if I were you, I would look for this job description. What is that they're actually looking for? It doesn't really matter where the job is, because in your case, you are mostly interested to learn about job requirement. And so if I were you, I would be actually looking at what is actually they are interested on the skill set. Okay, see, there is different kinds of, there is internship, there is data scientist, you know, and there is one in New York. So, and of course, they give the different titles or different names on these jobs. Okay, and even see, it's an entry level job. Basically, they are looking for someone, and it's from a recruiter though, so that's the difference. But anyway, from Bangladesh, it doesn't make much difference. So our junior data scientist, right? So again, I'm just showing you a tip just to see where two things are, and see the 11 data science careers shaping our future. So here, what is the data science? And then, okay, see the first title, and you know, showing you the salary. These are US salary. So data science used to be much higher. It's getting lower. See, machine learning engineer, the machine learning scientist, data architect, infrastructure architect, data engineer, business intelligence developer, statistician, like, you know, data analyst. So these are right now, the names are there. As you can see, data analyst has a lower salary because they are kind of not so much proficient with the data mining or like, you know, machine learning, and they kind of gather the data for the data scientist. Okay, so anyway, this is hopefully gives you and of course, when they see application architect, this would be someone who knows how to do programming as well. See, enterprise. So these buzzwords does mean something. Okay, our machine learning. See, I'm sure again, for some of you these are new, but you know, it's Ripon just you know, responded that, you know, he agrees also that it will be hitting Bangladesh as well. So anyway, so these are the hot things going on. Okay, this is a very a good website for data scientists, kgnuggets.com. If you have not used it, I highly recommend you to really look into this. So this one is actually the companies out there actually focusing on data science or data analytics. Okay, so kind of, and you kind of get lots of data from here actually. Okay, so anyway, these are some of the list, and of course every time is get updated. They're very good with this updating, and some of the list might not be made it here as well, so because it's a user centric. So if you're curious, you can go deep into it, so you know, and spend some time with this. And then I kind of made what are the different tools, and of course every day things changes, right? So there are some remember I was talking about predictive, descriptive, right? Classification and prediction that we talked about. See, it's right there. Okay. So anyway, so, and here also they're mentioning regression, association, rule classification, clustering. Okay, so the, like, you know, there is tools behind it, but you're not required to learn these tools But of course, it's very important that you understand the concept, because if you don't understand what are these, how are you going to run these tools? Okay. All right. So anyway, so here, and as time goes, there will be more and more tools coming. And of course, people don't want to build from scratch because it's a lot of work. Sometimes it can go years to build things. So there might be over the time, the same way that thing happened for data warehousing. There are so many, or the cloud infrastructure, there are so many tools out there that they will customize things for you, and then you might end up using the tools. So, but anyway, it's a fairly new field still. So there is not a mature tool that's out there that can really do all the work. But I'm sure as time goes, some of these organizations will come over and get the customers, like somebody like Oracle, for example, like tool based, and it's a $1 billion industry. Don't think of just some like small jokes. You might be paid hundreds of thousands of dollars just build things on it based off a tool. Okay. And this was another one, 25 best data mining tools. And again, I just focused on data mining because data science and data mining as well. So and nowadays most of the well-known corporations, they kind of focus on this. So as you can see, some of this I'm sure Ripon and Anam are familiar with. So again, so these are the tools, and again, let's see, Oracle. I used this actually. Okay. So these are different, and it's the list will grow and come back and down. It's again, I just use the cloud as an infrastructure as an example. When cloud started, it was a chaos 15-20 years ago, but now it has still I think it's humongous. There is hundreds and hundreds of databases, technology, cloud infrastructure out there. So and then the last one that I had for you guys was data science jobs in Bangladesh, right? So this was just a search I just did. As you can see, this is I was gonna do a Google BD. Oh, come on, don't do this. I'm in a different machine, that's why it's interesting. Anyway, so the idea was trying to search it based on the Google BD. So I think it did came still the similar. So I see some there, but if you are more than welcome to browse in it and try to see what is the future or what is the current going on in Bangladesh. All right. And of course, you don't have to really, the world has been so much change that you don't have to wait for Bangladesh even to move into. You can even go into the world and apply things in the US or some other places. Okay. So I think that's all I had from my end. Oh, the last part. So of course, I kind of talked about it a little bit as time goes. So for Bangladesh folks, what is that you should do? First, of course, you have to understand what is databases, right? You have to understand the business process. In my case, I said I'm an expert on the education industry. When I'm saying education, I don't mean teaching. Okay, I mean the administrative part of it. So I don't think in Bangladesh this is quite a big field yet, or maybe in the private universities there is IT unit that handles this, but this is quite normal in the US. Every college has an IT unit where we handle things. We have programmers, we have database administrators, we have sysadmin. I mean, we have a whole IT unit that handles the administration of the campus, because there's lots of online stuff happens. Okay, so anyway, so then you can understand the differences between. So in your case, it could be, in my case, I said in education. In your case, it could be pharmaceutical company, or it could be banking industry. Okay, so it depends on where you are interested to put your focus on. Then the difference, try to understand the differences between data science and data analytics. Hopefully you got little idea, but I don't mean by little idea. You have to have a deep understanding. What it means to be a data scientist, what it means to be a data analytics. Okay, so, and of course understand the data mining or data science techniques. There are MOOC courses out there. So what I mean by backtrack, meaning if you have to really start from scratch, ABCDs 1 2 3, start from there. Okay, and for most of you, you do have to. Okay, and then do some projects. Okay, if you do projects, hopefully you get a better understanding of things, not just trying to learn things. And when you do those projects, I showed you the my class example. You apply that different techniques or algorithms that you do, and then of course, I showed you the job search, and you try to learn the tools that they require. Maybe something you learn today, 5 years down the line, it might not be as popular, but don't think it's going away. Okay, so try to pick up something good. But most important part for you is actually the theoretical component of it. This stuff, this will take time. Okay, and of course, build your portfolio and resume. So I don't think, oh yeah, I did have that link at the very beginning. Like say, if I show you my portfolio or resume, right? So as you saw, I have my LinkedIn profile here. I have my Baruch profile here, right? So if, oops, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I can go back. Okay, so see here, again, I'm also a newbie for teaching full-time. So all this time I've been teaching part-time, so I plan to go. So I do also have my profile here. As you can see, it's a website from Baruch. So I kind of advertise what I've been doing and blah blah blah. This is geared towards teaching background. So this could be my portfolio for teaching. All right, so as you can see, I'm showing my 20 years of background here, right? So now in your case, you might say, you know what, I don't have anything. What am I going to do? It's great. You had 20 years time, you had all this, and this is a common, quite simple question. So now if I take you to my resume, this also I posted for you guys to show you. Now my resume is a little different. Okay, I have two tracks. One is the teaching track. Another one is the professional IT track. Okay, so after you graduate, you should have something. I mean, maybe not as big as mine, but you should have something. All right. As you can see, I'm also advertising MS Office. You might be thinking that's silly, but some jobs they're asking for this. So why not just put it in there? All right. So yes, I did remove some of the stuff that I maybe not being used for 10, 15 years. But if you notice, a lot of jobs I applied for, the whole reason I got called because they look at this and they think this guy knows something. All right. Of course, they have to test me, but resume is the one. Resume or CV, whatever you call it, it is an entry door for you. So for example, if you are practicing C, right? Hopefully later you're going to have this there. You're practicing R. You're practicing Python. All right. So this technical skill, sooner or later, should be there. Okay. Of course, you don't need research unless you're going for teaching. And then I'm showing my teaching background, but you can skip all this. See. But then I do have some professional training that because of my job that allows me to do this. So they pay for this. So, I show those. If you do take them, it's kind of, and certification, you can show that in your resume. All right. So these are, and then professional experience. Yes, of course, in your case, you might not have any right now, but before you graduate, I would highly recommend you to do some internships. Okay. So these are real jobs, but if you go down, further down, you see, this was done when I was a student. All right. Ripon, you can see I was a LaGuardia student at that time. Okay, so this was an internship actually. All right, and this was a part-time job as a student. Okay, right? So something like this before you graduate, wherever it is, but it should be something related to IT, not some other, like, whatever it helps you. So I would say start your focus. I mean, yes, today we are talking about data mining or data science. Next class, we might be talking about cybersecurity. And after all this, that your wish list that you guys shared with me, you should kind of make up your mind that what is that you are interested on your future career, right? So if I go back to your topics, right? These are the topics that I cover today. We talked about data mining, but then again, you're going to be able to see a similar pattern on these other topics that you shared. Maybe not as big as this one, but this was the course that I taught, and that's how you're able to see everything that I covered and stuff like that. So, but hopefully it will give you some level of understanding. So okay, Ripon, to answer your question, actually, I have to study myself because since I'm not from that background, I might not be able to look at it. But you can look at it yourself, actually, also. And if you have anything that I can help with, okay. Yeah, I think all of you can see what he wrote. So anyway, and it's a kind of brand new field, actually. So there's the maturity still has to happen, and if you have experience, please share in. So anyway, that's all I have from my end. Does anybody have any question? If you have question, I will, you can unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can put yourself, put in the chat. So far I see only, I know I went almost 2 hours, actually 2 hours, yeah. Okay, see, Enam is actually, is already claiming that, it's, by the way, Ripon, you don't know Enam, he's from my cadet college buddy. He's been very helpful when he was in New York. Now he's in Buffalo. So, yes, thank you for chipping in. So, anybody have any question, especially for the folks in CSC majors? How about, is everybody okay with this time, the Sunday 9 p.m. the Bangladesh time? You can say yes. From the folks that is still here there, Galib, I hope it's okay with you. And I see Fahad and Shafayed is still around. I guess some people have to leave, so that's fine. So is okay with you guys? So I will schedule the session at that time, and then I don't hear you, or I hope I didn't lose you and make you fall in sleep. I don't hear from anybody. Okay, Galib is saying yes for you. Okay, great, thank you. How about the rest? Is everybody okay? All right, good. And I see that you're being active. Okay, great. Okay. All right, so I am hoping that everybody's okay. So I am hoping that next class it's not going to be as long. Sorry, I took longer than I expected. Okay. Okay. All right. So okay. So yes, I mean, you can email us, I guess, Enam, if you were interested to help him out, but email me all the that everything that you're needed. So just if there is anything that I can help you with, I'll be more sure I'll spend my time to look at it. So just email me that everything that, because I'm business model, of course, it's big, but what is it and how, what kind of thing you're interested in and stuff like that. I'm hoping this is for a data mining or data science project. So, okay. All right. So I think, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the big, it's the same. It's a most likely unsupervised data. Okay, all right. Yes, so everyone, thank you again for attending this session. If there is no more question, I think I'm gonna end the session and stop sharing again. Thank you for everyone. Oh, by the way, before you leave, for those of you who did not, as you can see, Anam just shared his email. Please do share me your email account so I can directly send you the email. Right now I have Araf and Galib and Anam and also my friend Ahmad. For the rest, please. Yeah, I do have yours. Okay. For the rest, please send me your email account so I can communicate for the rest of the lectures. Give me your name and the email. Okay, I do have Araf, Galib. Galib, why don't you send type your against, please? So I have it. I didn't go before we end. So I'll give you a minute or two, but officially we're kind of done actually. So if you want, you can log off. Too bad I can't see who's typing or who's not. It's Ripon, yeah, I have yours. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's do this. If you think you don't remember or you are shy to share with everybody, I will share my email account. Yeah, thanks, Ripon. So you can send an email here, but just make sure you say like, something like Bangladesh or like, data mining, something. So that way I know that is coming from you guys because it will be an unknown email account. So it can go into my spam as well. So for the rest, otherwise, I guess I'll have to communicate through Galib. So again, is anyone typing their email before I end the session? Just say yes or no. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you, Galib, for the input. All right. So again, hopefully next one we will start at, yeah, I got it, Galib. Thank you. So next one we will start at 11 sharp. Please try to respect the time. As you can see here, people coming from different horizons. So, the goal is here trying to help each other. And hopefully someday I might learn a few things from you. And of course, the teaching is my passion, or talking like this, because the whole idea behind it is like, I always learn things when I'm speaking to the youngsters. Okay, so good luck everyone, and